Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cock.
He's Captain Foley.
And today we're talking about a fantastic design by a fantastic designer, an awesome just human being in general. That person would be Eric Henry. Today we're talking about the Valdres class strike wing escorts.
And of course, it isn't just his design, it's his design in a licensed game. Oh my goodness, Star Trek Online. It's another design made from fan into cool fan work into Star Trek Online. For them, by them, in the game. You can go play it right now. We all love Star Trek Online. And this is, of course, a Norway reinvention variant. We'll look at scales and comparisons in a bit. Just want to look at this. This design really popped out to me when I prepped these things a while ago. Because, you know, it's pretty sleek. And Star Trek Online has ever improved the way they build their models. I mean, you can see distinct generational improvements. And this is a much more modern design. So this is a far nicer reflection of what they can do. So, Stuart, here it is. Have you seen it before? And what do you think?
I've seen it before in passing. I didn't know who designed it, though. So that's cool. And it is a very modern take on the Norway class, which I love when older designs get upgraded and kind of just rounded out and sleeked. So, yeah. Looks like a fantastic vessel. Not very big, though. It's not a large vessel by the looks of things, but yeah, I think the length is, 380 meters?
As if you read it from a brief or something crazy.
Well, no, because if I read it from the brief, it would be 380.4 meters. I was trying to be...
Uh-huh. Yeah. No. Yeah, and it's one of those wonderful things where a lot of designers do a lot of versions of things, but it's nice when you can tell that in the bones of the brain power step one, let's keep it feeling like the Norway. That often gets lost in the process, and it might become a great design, but you lose that distinct, this, I think, keeps the feel extremely well, and yet does a whole new thing with it. And that is a trick to achieve.
Mm-hmm. I just did a zoom in on this, on the deflector specifically. It looks like the deflector's kind of just photoshopped in on this image. I don't know. Is it just me? It just looks a little odd.
I don't know. It's quite a zoomed in detail. But it's very Voyager-esque in the deflector. There's those little two prongs. But also what I love about Star Trek Online, the newer stuff, is that they do really do the Rick Sternbach, Andrew Probert. This is the list of details. Let's make sure they're all on. The RCS, the little red bits around the things. These are things you do not expect to see in Picard. Sorry to Picard. Or you know, Stranger Worlds or whatever. But here they are. It feels so much more full and real because it's got everything you would expect to see. But yeah, really great view. Let's go through them. The bottom view, which, of course, on the original way, is very flat. This is cool. This is nice. Really white, really gleaming, really bright. But actually, I think quite works well.
Now, the phaser strips are quite unique, actually. Dividing them up into 4 instead of just having one on each side.
Lot of small strips.
Yeah, and some interesting additions, too, like the bottom of the nacelles, what look like anti-grav or like landing pads almost. Just a weird detail. I
mean, I assume that could be a nice addition. Or they are landing legs and they just go down.
Popping out of the nacelle, though. It's hard to integrate those in with the warp coils.
Well, not unless they have to go just like a little bit down. I mean, it's rubber feet, isn't it? Just to stop it. I mean, how many times can you metal scrape before you're like, damn it, our nacelles are ruined? You know, just needs to be a little thing. But clearly a function there that I have no idea. Right. And I have a slightly different affinity with the Norway because I was tasked to redesign Alex Yeager's version and the Eaglemoss version for the Squadron fan film. So I did take the original design and iterate, develop, make it a hero model. So I know my version, which I know a lot of fans quite like. There's obviously a newer version, but I have what I did to mine. You know, I've looked at it and thought, do that and that. You know.
I just want to be clear too. I'm not saying that it does land because I don't know if it does. It just looks like a smaller vessel, and those look like they could, even the ones on the saucer, extend down and just be like something to provide a landing surface. So.
I'm assuming that at the middle of the bottom, that's a Defiant style landing, docking hangar bay.
Yeah, I would think so.
Which I would not have thought to put there, but I mean, it's on Defiant. There is a precedent for it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even remember that the bottom of the Defiant did that, and the Chaffee came out. Like, but yeah, with the registry the way it is there, it definitely looks like doors. It does look like a shuttle bay or a hangar bay. So,
And you'll be forgiven for not remembering that from DS9 because it's like twice. And it's not on any other shot because they only changed the model for those shots. Which was funny to then go back and update our model of the Defiant to include those details. Because, of course, there is a higher detail element if you use that one version of the shot. Yeah. So what do you think? What are you vibing about these nacelles? What do you think? Because they are quite different and sleek.
not a huge fan of the curve in them. I wish, and it's just that's keeping that aesthetic, right? But I don't like the curve and the asymmetrical like front Bizarre collector look is unique.
It's quite Stowe. They do that sometimes, I feel like.
Yeah. It's interesting, but it's not my favorite nacelle by any means.
So tiny warp coils visible. Yeah, that's fine. Just they don't leave much of an imprint. I will say when I see this bottom view and this right-hand nacelle, it looks like a shampoo bottle we have in the UK. And the top is almost the same. You just pull it off and then you squeeze. So that is very, very similar. The next view, though, is a kind of reverse, gives you a different feeling. It's going to look good in motion, right? With that really nice way they've angled, like a double angled of the saw. So it's got like a curve, a dip, a flat, another curve. Really nice. Really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of nice detail, like plate detailing, like small plates. And then like that blue kind of checkerboard, almost like a tile version.
Well, you don't notice it on this other views. I guess that's a specialist spec pattern. It's so subtle on the other side.
Yeah, and there you get to see more upper phaser strips, even on the nacelle pylon there. And the interesting thing for me is, I was talking about those curved nacelles. The pennant, the banner is actually curved on the nacelle as well as the side of the hull. It's got a swoosh to it, which is kind of nice look.
I do think she's underarmed, though. I mean, having so many tiny phaser strips, it doesn't feel quite... Because I really appreciate that they have that one giant phaser strip that, that's the primary beam array. To only have those two in the middle up front feels...
Well, it seems like a specialist ship, because if those black things, those vents, are actually transport emitters, which...
We've got some underneath, though.
Yeah, they look like they could be transport emitters or something. There's a lot of them, and they're scattered all over the place.
They have a function.
So,
well, speaking of function, there's also these two... I saw them on the underside as well. There's these two details that have a blue ring. You imagine that they might have said, a strike wing escort is not a normal phrase for a Starfleet ship, right? So if this thing is a functional this and can do this... And Eric was told, we want to include this because in the game you can put on special consoles which give you special abilities. If this thing comes with a special console, which of course they want you to purchase and play the store for, maybe that's pre-built in, these two elements. So you could remove very easily, right? Maybe that's a quantum entanglement ray, special to this ship. Because they're distinct, aren't they? They're not, I don't know what they would do normally.
Yeah, they do stand out for sure. It's cool look those as well. And it seems like it almost looks like a slider, like something you'd use on a phone or something to lock. It's got an interesting look to it, I gotta say.
But the back view, if you haven't seen it yet, that is a very underdeveloped back element behind the bridge. Because originally there's quite a lot there. I guess there's a door in the middle that's a shuttle bay, but I see why there's need for an under shuttle bay. Because there's just nothing going on there. I'm kind of surprised how lackluster that is. No offense, obviously, just kind of surprised how lackluster it is.
And I just realized that those vent things I was talking about a second ago are not transporter emitters, because there are transporter emitters on the back here, as well as on the back of the saucer on this side. I don't know what those other things are, but they look important.
It's funny, because they look just like the landing legs of the runabout, those little rubber pads, right? And I love the fact that you got this little, feels like a nod to Enterprise B, the little fin blinkies at the back. It's quite a nice little... Entirely unnecessary, right? Doesn't make a lick of sense, structurally, whatever. But you know what? I like them. Oh, the bottom view from the back. Okay, a lot of greebling on the reverse now, which we hadn't seen from the top, which does fit into the style of the ship. Top is super smooth, lacking. The bottom is jammed for the details. Wow.
I do like the level of detail. Yeah, I do like the level of detail that's here for sure.
It's like escalation times 5.
And it does look like there's like movable elements. Like it looks like there's hinges there, 2 hinges. Actually, those look like landing pads. you see like a little like rubber pad on the end. It looks like those actually fold down to be like legs. So maybe those are landing legs.
And I'm finally noticing the impulse engines, those tiny little... Let's not use the entire space that's dedicated. Let's put Gwibbies next to it. I think those should be bigger, I think. But, of course, let's look at scale, because we have the scale. Here is a chart. Now, of course, I don't have the Norway from First Contact, because no one has the Norway from First Contact. It was lost. And then they didn't make one for DS9, because they didn't have the one from First Contact. So here's my Norway from Squadron, which I redesigned. At the scale I had it, which I can't remember what I scaled at the time, because this is like 3.5 years ago. So, knowing me, I probably scaled it correctly. But pinch of salt there. But that's my version. And of course, this isn't meant to be that version, but it's still mostly right. The shapes are mostly all there. Just some slight tweaks. So yeah, here's the scale as presented at 380 meters.
And that fits. I mean, if you look at the escape pods of the Voyager, these are the same size escape pods on this one. And they even line up with yours as well a little bit, even though yours are the newer style with the Sovereign style.
Which is true. Why haven't they gone for the newer ones? Huh. Didn't register that. Huh. Because definitely not an older than the Norway. But again, maybe I just changed them to these to be fun. Again, a while ago I designed this. So definitely a support role. Not big, but I quite like the mid-level ships. But not as much space as I thought.
Actually, looks like it lost some space from the other Norway.
I mean, conceptually, if there isn't much room if you're losing the secondary hull and the pylons are so small. I mean, it is just kind of the Reliant of this era in a sense. It's like, yeah, we've got a saucer, and then the stuff that makes us go. But yeah, scale works for me. I kind of like it's a bit bigger. Makes sense. Nacelles are definitely bigger, but hey, warp X times XX. You need the extra speed.
Yeah, top view kind of changes the feel though. Makes it feel a little bit bigger, just because of the compared to the saucer, the D, right?
I mean, you can tell what Eric was thinking. What if I made every angle a curve? All of them. Because he did.
Not complaining. It looks kind of neat. It's a cool progression, like I said.
I mean, look how dull the pylons are of the Norway. At least my version of their version.
And here you can definitely see what you were talking about the lack of stuff behind the bridge. Like, just look at the original Norway. And
well, my Norway, both versions are different. We up-detailed this one quite substantially. So, I mean, his is damn sleek, but it does feel a tad less robust, but it now feels faster. And if you're going for a more responsive vehicle, I mean, that works for me.
Yeah, Eric does really great work, so.
And lucky to get the chance to design ship for Stowe. Wouldn't we all love that chance to do it? Like, I have a Norway right here. I've designed many ships for many fan films. But, of course, end on a real beauty, which, makes it look rather snazzy.
Ooh. Yeah. It is a cool looking little ship, I gotta say. I'm not the biggest fan of the aesthetic of all the curves, though. Like I said, those nacelle curves kind of bother me a little bit, but yeah, it's a small thing. Only a little bit, yeah. I could probably get used to it, especially if I saw it in game and saw it in motion. That's the other thing. Seeing the ship in motion definitely changes the vibe, like most of the time. So
the old motion blur hides lots of sins. But this is a great shot for showing he's clearly connected, as you said earlier, the curve of the saucer into the curve of the nacelles. It's one giant, like your brain sees it, right? It's all flowing.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. That is the Valdres.
Go play something online. Why now? Like now.
And tell them the Trekyards sent you. I don't know. Anyway, please give us a like. We'd really appreciate that. Also, comment down below what you thought about this design, or if you know about Eric Henry. If not, check out his channel on YouTube. He's got some great stuff. And by all means, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss any content that we upload or the lives that we do, because we like hanging out with you guys, and we have got a great community, so we want you to be a part of it.
Oh, it's kind of a live show, right? Live, like not a chat show. Like, here we are, we will talk to you guys, and support if you can, monthly, via Patreon, Trekyards, and Patreon, or join the channel. It's the join button on this channel. Here you are, the join button, or super chat on either lives, or super thanks on any video, even this one. Like, you can actually stop watching this, pause it, and super thanks, and it'd be amazing. You
Right,
could
you just keep watching and super thanks while you're listening.
every 5 seconds. Just, wow. It's a bit too much probably, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I do, and so do they.
Good.
So, anyway, thank you guys so much. Until next time, he is Commander Cockings.
Captain Foley.
See you guys later.
Bye, guys.